Welcome. What you are about to watch is not just another video. It is an inflection point. It is a line in the sand. This is the moment where you stop being a passive victim of your own mind and become its active, conscious, and powerful architect. For years, perhaps for your entire life, you have lived with a frustrating, invisible barrier. You feel a flicker of raw panic when you're introduced to a new colleague or client, a cold dread setting in because you know with absolute certainty that their name will vanish from your mind like smoke in a breeze less than 10 seconds after you hear it. You have stared, eyes burning, at a single page in a textbook for an hour, the words blurring, only to feel a cold, terrifying, blank void where that knowledge should be when the exam paper lands on your desk. You have experienced that strange, disorienting moment of standing in the middle of a room in your own home, completely baffled, a ghost in your own life, with no idea what urgent purpose brought you there. These are not small quirks. These are not senior moments. These are symptoms of a deep, systemic failure. Not a failure of you, but a failure of your process. If your mind feels less like a fortress of knowledge, a reliable steel vault, and more like a hopelessly cracked sieve, where every valuable thought, every crucial fact, and every precious memory leaks away, then you must listen to every word that follows. You must engage with this material, not as a passive viewer, but as an active participant. This is not a distraction. It is your new instruction manual. You are about to receive the complete, unabridged architectural blueprint to unlock your brain's true, staggering capacity. This is not a list of 10 fast hacks or weird tricks. This is a deep, foundational, transformative system. This is a rewiring. We are not here to put a patch on the leaky bucket. We are here to forge an entirely new one, built from iron. You will learn to construct a powerful, reliable, high-speed memory and, starting this very second, to permanently lock in anything you choose to learn, for life. And for my dedicated, ambitious English learners, understand what this session truly is. This is not just a listening exercise. This is your personal fluency gymnasium. This is an advanced immersion. As you absorb these powerful, complex, and sophisticated ideas, you are not just passively listening. You are actively strengthening the neural pathways of language. You are acquiring the nuanced vocabulary, the complex sentence structures, and the confident, persuasive rhythm of masterful English. We are doing two things at once. We are building a superior mind, and we are mastering the language to express its newfound power. So, whether your ultimate goal is to dominate your academic exams, to stand in a boardroom and recall every fact and figure with unshakable authority, to speak English with the kind of fluency that commands respect, or to simply walk through your one life with the supreme, quiet confidence of a mind that you can finally trust, you must stay with me. This is not a promise of easy. This is a guarantee of possible. If you commit to this new architecture, if you truly engage, you will shatter the old, frustrating, and exhausting cycle of forgetting. You will build a mental palace you can be proud of. Let us begin the construction. Before we can lay a single new brick, we must first understand the old, crumbling, flawed foundation. We must conduct a thorough demolition. We have to address the core, fundamental reason why you've been forgetting all this time. The single greatest obstacle to your memory is not your biology. It's the mythology. It's the lie you've been told, and the lie you've been telling yourself. Most people walk through their entire lives falsely, tragically believing they have a broken memory. They sigh, defeated, and utter the words that become a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm just not smart, or I'm terrible with names, or I have a bad memory. Let me be unequivocally clear. You do not have a broken memory. You have an untrained one. You do not have a flawed machine. You have been using the wrong software. The root of all your frustration, from the forgotten name to the failed exam, is that we were all given the most powerful, complex, and sophisticated supercomputer on planet Earth, our brain, with absolutely zero instructions on how to properly save a file. Let's burn that old myth to the ground with a new, powerful, and accurate metaphor. Your mind is a vast, private, and magnificent library. Think of it, a sprawling building with endless corridors and towering shelves, capable of holding billions of pieces of information. Every single new thing you learn, a person's name, a historical date, a new word, a life lesson, a recipe, is a brand new book arriving at the library's front door. Now, this library has two critical, distinct areas. The first is the front desk, or the receiving bay. This is your short-term memory. It's a small, cluttered, temporary space. A book can sit on this desk for a few seconds, maybe a minute, perhaps 5, if you're really trying. But it is, by design, temporary. At the end of every day, or perhaps every hour, a custodian comes to clear that desk. Anything left on it, anything not properly filed, is not kept. It is tossed out. It is incinerated. This is not a flaw. It's a feature. It's the library's defense against being buried in junk mail. This is forgetting. Then, deep within the building, past the security doors, are the permanent shelves. This is your long-term memory. This is the vault. This is the archive. The shelves here are infinite. Books placed here are catalogued, cross-referenced, given a specific, permanent location, and can be found again, instantly, 10, 20, or 50 years from now. When you remember your childhood home, or the lyrics to a song from your youth, or a skill like riding a bike, you are effortlessly striding to the correct shelf and pulling out the correct book. The system works perfectly. So, here is the problem. Here is the entire tragedy of your bad memory. Most people spend their entire lives just piling new books on the front desk. Think about your daily life. You're in a meeting, and someone introduces themselves. "Hi, I'm Sarah." That's a new book. You hear it, you smile, and you leave the book on the front desk while you start thinking about what you're going to say. You scroll mindlessly through your phone. You see an interesting fact. That's a new book. You look at it for 3 seconds, and then you keep scrolling, leaving that book on the desk. You study for a final exam by trying to read 500 pages in one night. That's not studying. That's a frantic, desperate attempt to pile 50 books onto a front desk that can only hold 5. The desk collapses, the books are thrown out, and you walk into the exam with a blank, empty desk, and you feel the shame of failure. The act of remembering, the act of true learning, is the simple, conscious, deliberate process of picking up one book at a time from that front desk, walking it back to the correct section, and placing it securely on its dedicated shelf. Your memory isn't flawed. Your memory is brilliant. It's your filing system that is non-existent. Today, we are not fixing you. We are hiring a new librarian and giving them a new, perfect system. So, we have established the grand architecture of your mind. We have this vast, magnificent private library, a structure with infinite shelves, capable of holding a lifetime of knowledge, skills, and memories. We have our two distinct areas: the chaotic, temporary front desk of your short-term memory and the secure, permanent, organized, permanent shelves of your long-term memory. We have a clear goal: to stop piling books on the front desk where they are thrown away, and to start the conscious, deliberate process of filing them onto the permanent shelves. But this reveals the next, and arguably the most critical failing point in the entire system. How does a new book, a new piece of information, get from the delivery truck on the street, through the front doors, and even onto the front desk in the first place? This is the step that 99% of people fail 99% of the time. And here is the fact that might sting, but it is the single most important truth you will learn today. You do not have a memory problem. You have an attention problem. You cannot possibly file, store, or recall information that your brain never truly received in the first place. This is the master key. This is the security pass. Without this key, you can't even get into the building. Your brain is not a passive sponge soaking up the world around it. It is a high-security fortress, and it is under constant siege. To protect itself from being overwhelmed by the billions of bits of data bombarding it every single second, every sight, every sound, every smell, every stray thought, it has one and only one gatekeeper. That gatekeeper is your attention. Your attention is the solitary guard at the main gate who decides what is allowed inside the fortress walls and what is left outside to rot. Let's use a different metaphor that is just as powerful. Think of your focus like the powerful single spotlight in a pitch-black, infinitely large warehouse. Your memory can only interact with what is in that beam of light. If the spotlight is off, the warehouse is dark, and nothing can be found or filed. If the spotlight is flickering and jumping around from one thing to another, you get brief, useless, blurry glimpses of everything and a clear picture of nothing. This is the state most of us live in. Let's make it even more practical. Think of your attention as a professional camera lens. If you, as an amateur, just wave your camera around a room, never stopping to aim, never setting the aperture, never focusing the lens, and most importantly, never clicking the shutter, can you really be surprised when you get to the end of the day and your memory card is empty? You cannot develop a blurry, accidental, out-of-focus image. You were in the room, the lens cap was off, but you took no pictures. This is your daily life. This is the blur. You are in a lecture. Your eyes are pointed at the professor. Your ears are receiving the sound waves, but your mind, your attention, your spotlight, your lens, is somewhere else entirely. It's planning dinner, it's replaying an argument, it's thinking about the weekend. Later you say, "I just can't remember what he said." The truth is, you never heard him in the first place. The sound was just noise. The book never made it past the front door. You are reading a page from a book. Your eyes are dutifully scanning the lines of text from left to right, top to bottom. You get to the end of the page and you realize, with a sinking feeling, that you have absolutely no idea what you just read. You have no photo of that page. You were just waving the camera around. The words were seen, but the meaning was never allowed past the gatekeeper. This is why this is so hard. It is not entirely your fault. You must understand that you are living in a war zone. There is a war for your focus. There are multi-trillion-dollar corporations in Silicon Valley and around the world whose entire business model, whose entire algorithm is engineered for one purpose: to steal your attention, shatter it into 1,000 tiny pieces, and sell those pieces to the highest bidder. Your smartphone is not a neutral tool. It is a dopamine slot machine in your pocket, precision engineered by thousands of the world's smartest psychologists and engineers to create addiction. The infinite scroll is not a feature, it's a weapon. It is designed to hypnotize the ancient, scanning, threat detection part of your brain and never give it a stopping cue. The red notification bubble is not a helper. It is a digital age interruption that is identical to your nervous system, as a lion snapping a twig in the bushes. It shatters your deep focus. We have trained our brains to crave this distraction. We feel a phantom buzz in our pocket when there is no notification. We feel a twitch of anxiety when we are left alone with our own thoughts for more than 30 seconds. This modern state is known as continuous partial attention. You are never fully anywhere. You are kind of listening to your partner while kind of checking an email. You are kind of working on a project while kind of monitoring a group chat. You are waving your camera around all day long. And the result is a life of blurry, undeveloped photos. The result is an empty library. So, what is the solution? The solution is to become a warrior. You must become the ruthless, vigilant protector of your own mind. The antidote to multitasking is not better multitasking. The antidote is monotasking. The superpower of the 21st century, the skill that will separate the successful from the stressed, is the ability to do one single thing at a time with your full, undivided attention. You must practice active noticing. You must consciously click the shutter. When you want to remember something, a name, a fact, a moment, you must stop. You must aim your lens. You must choose to give it 5 seconds of pure, sanctified, undivided focus. Let's go back to our example. You meet the new client. Hi, I'm Sarah. The amateur, the old you, waves the camera. You smile, you nod. You're already thinking about your handshake. You're thinking about your next meeting. The book is left on the sidewalk. The professional, the new you, stops. For 3 seconds, you stop. You aim your lens. You look at her. You see the color of her eyes. You listen to the sound of her name. You click the shutter mentally. You engage your library's filing system. You say her name back to her, engaging your own voice. It's wonderful to meet you, Sarah. That is the click. You have taken a picture. The book has been received by the librarian, who is now holding it firmly at the front desk, ready for the next step. You must be as ruthless in protecting your focus as they are in stealing it. You must build a focus fortress. When you need to learn, when you need to read, you must create a sanctuary. The phone does not go on silent. It does not get turned face down. It goes in another room. You must close all 50 tabs on your browser. You must set a timer for 25 minutes and give yourself the profound gift of a single, unbroken chain of thought. This is the master key. This is the non-negotiable first step to all memory. You can have the most magnificent library in the world, with perfect shelves and a genius filing system, but it is all a useless, empty monument if you never, ever unlock the front door to let a new book inside. Your attention is the only key. You are the only gatekeeper. From now on, you must decide consciously what you allow into your mind. We have established our foundation, our magnificent library, our mind palace, with its temporary front desk and its infinite permanent shelves. Crucially, we have now hired a vigilant, elite gatekeeper, our attention. We have committed to becoming warriors of focus, learning to aim our lens and click the shutter, consciously deciding what we allow into our minds and rejecting the endless, trivial noise of the outside world. We have learned to receive the new book and place it firmly on the front desk. But now, we face the most creative, most powerful, and most misunderstood part of the entire process. The book is on the desk. The librarian is holding it. Now what? How do we file it? How do we take a piece of information and make it stick? Here is the secret. You cannot file the book as it is. The language it's written in, the language of abstract, boring, black and white text, of lists, of numbers, of dry facts, is a foreign language to your brain. Let me be clear. Your brain is a movie director, not a text editor. It is a master of 3D, multi-sensory, emotional, visual experience. It is a complete amateur with abstract, logical, text-based data. Your brain's native tongue, the language it has been speaking fluently for over 2 million years of evolution, is the language of imagery. The language of text, letters, words, numbers, is a brand new, artificial invention, only a few thousand years old. Think about what your brain evolved to do. It did not evolve to remember the abstract formula E me to dollar. It evolved to remember the image of a lion in the grass. It evolved to remember the sound of a rival tribe. It evolved to remember the smell of a poisonous fruit, the feeling of a sharp stone, and the spatial location of the one safe river. These are not abstract facts. These are rich, sensory experiences. Your entire brain is hardwired for this. We don't even have a single reading center in the brain. To read, your brain has to borrow other regions, like the visual cortex, and force them to do a job they were never designed for. This is why you can remember the feeling and look of your childhood bedroom with perfect crystal clarity. But you forget a key fact you read just 30 seconds ago. The fact was written in a foreign language. The bedroom is a fluent, native language memory. So, to remember anything, a name, a date, a foreign word, a complex theory, you must first perform a conscious, creative act of translation. You must become a mental cartoonist. You must translate the boring, abstract, foreign language text into the rich, vivid, native language of a mental movie. Words are weak. Images are powerful. Let's take the abstract concept of ambition. You can't see ambition. It's a zip file for the brain. Compressed, cold, no immediate meaning. To remember it, you must unzip it. You must see a picture. Perhaps you picture a person literally, physically, climbing the side of a glass skyscraper with their bare hands, sweating, straining, looking up at the sun at the top. You can hear them grunting, feel the cold glass, see the city far below. Now you haven't just thought about ambition, you have experienced it. This is the secret of all memory champions. When they memorize a deck of 52 cards, they don't see King of Hearts. That's abstract. It's weak. They have a pre-made image for it. For them, the King of Hearts might be a vivid, specific image of their father, King, eating a giant, messy, heart-shaped cake. Hearts. They're not memorizing cards. They are creating a wild, unforgettable movie. So, how do you create a sticky image? A weak, boring image is just as useless as text. A truly powerful, permanent memory image has 5 key ingredients. Your mental movie must be exaggerated. Your brain ignores the normal. It is hardwired to pay attention to the unusual. So don't just picture a man. Picture a 50-foot-tall giant. Don't just picture a sound. Picture a sound so deafening it shatters all the windows around you. Full of action. Static images are boring. They fade. Your brain is obsessed with motion. The image must be doing something. It must be running, jumping, exploding, melting, fighting, or crashing. A verb is always stronger than an adjective. Bizarre and absurd. This is the most fun. Logic is the enemy of memory. Your brain is a difference detector. It skips over the logical and normal because it's predictable and safe. A ridiculous, surreal, impossible, or funny image stands out like a neon sign. A fish in water is forgettable. A fish riding a bicycle smoking a cigar, and wearing a top hat is unforgettable. Multi-sensory. Don't just see your movie. Be the director. Add a soundtrack. Involve all the senses. Can you hear it? The clang. Boom. Splat. Can you smell it? The acrid smoke, the sweet perfume. Can you feel it? The sticky, wet texture, the freezing cold. Can you taste it? The more senses you involve, the more hooks you create in your brain. A memory with one hook is easy to lose. A memory with 5 hooks is locked in place. And finally, emotional. Is the image hilarious? Is it disgusting? Is it frightening? Is it joyful? An emotion is the superglue that binds the image to your mind. Let's put this into practice. For vocabulary, you want to learn the word gregarious, which means sociable. The abstract definition is weak. Let's make a movie. I hear Greg in the word, so I picture a man I know named Greg, but I exaggerate it. He's not just at a party, he's on a giant aircraft carrier. Action. Absurd. He's shouting, "G'day," to thousands of people. Exaggeration. I can hear the loud party music, smell the salty ocean air, and feel the boat rocking. Multi-sensory. Greg is being gregarious. That word is now yours forever. For names, you meet Mr. Baker. The old you, Mr. Baker, gone in 5 seconds. The new you instantly create a mental movie. You see him not just in a hat, but actively, violently kneading dough. But the dough is alive. It explodes in his face. Action absurd, covering him in a cloud of white flour. Visual. You hear the sound. You smell the yeast. Smell. It's funny. Emotion. Now, you cannot forget his name. For A-list, you need to buy paper, stapler, battery, glasses. The old you. Paper, stapler, battery, glasses. Paper, stapler, battery, glasses. Gone. The new you. You direct a micro-movie. A giant, walking, angry piece of paper, personification, is attacking a terrified stapler. Action, emotion. The stapler, in a panic, bites down hard on a glowing battery. Action, which explodes. Kaboom! With a blinding light, sound, visual, forcing the paper to put on a tiny pair of sunglasses. Absurd, visual. You will remember that list. This is not a silly trick. This is, quite literally, learning to speak your brain's native language. You are stopping the clumsy, broken, foreign language of abstract text and becoming a fluent native speaker in the brain's mother tongue of rich, sensory imagery. From now on, you are not a passive reader. You are an active creator. You are the director. You are the mental cartoonist. Stop reading. Start seeing. So you have accepted your new role. You are the vigilant gatekeeper of your mind, your attention, filtering the signal from the noise. You have also become the master artist, the mental cartoonist, translating the brain's foreign language of boring, abstract text into its beautiful, fluent, native tongue of rich, multisensory, and bizarre imagery. You have created a masterpiece. Your image for Gregarious is a work of art. Your mental movie for Mr. Baker is an unforgettable, flower-filled explosion. This is a monumental leap, but it immediately presents a new, higher-level problem. That's one word. That's one name. What happens when you need to learn 10 new words? What happens when you have a shopping list of 15 items? What happens when you need to memorize the 20 key points for your final presentation in perfect order? The problem you face now is one of sequence and connection. If you just create 20 different brilliant, absurd images, you now have a new problem. You have a mental art gallery with 20 different unconnected paintings. You might remember a few, but you have no way to remember all of them, and you certainly have no way to remember their order. You've created 20 individual memory islands, floating alone and untethered in the vast, dark ocean of your mind. They are easy to lose. It's easy to forget one. It's impossible to recall them in the correct sequence. This brings us to a liberating and profound truth. Your brain is fundamentally, evolutionarily designed to reject isolated, disconnected facts. It craves connection. It demands meaning. It doesn't just want a picture. It wants a plot. Your mind is not a spreadsheet. It is not a gallery. It is not a list. Your mind is a storyteller. This is the powerful, ancient logic behind the narrative bridge, or the story chain method. If you want to permanently link multiple pieces of information, you must stop making lists and start telling stories. You must stop creating isolated islands and start forging a single, unbreakable chain. Why? Because for 99.9% of human history, story was the only technology we had for data storage and transfer. Before the written word, before the printing press, before computers, how did our ancestors pass on their critical, life-saving information? How did they remember the precise, multi-step path to the one safe watering hole? How did they transmit the complex knowledge of which plants were poison and which were medicine? How did they ensure the history of their tribe, its heroes and its enemies, survived for generations? They told epic stories. First, you walk to the great twisted tree that looks like a man, then you follow the dry riverbed where the great lion once hunted until you see the 3 mountain peaks that look like a crown. The information was embedded in a narrative. Your brain is, quite literally, hardwired for this. It is a campfire. It is designed to listen to the storyteller. Let's use a different metaphor. A simple list of facts is like a random, meaningless scattering of stars in the night sky. They are impossible to identify or remember. A story is the act of drawing a line between them. A story creates a constellation. Your brain cannot and will not remember 1,000 random, disconnected stars, but it will effortlessly remember the story of Orion the Hunter, and in doing so, it automatically captures all the individual stars within that pattern. The story is the pattern. The story is the meaning that connects the data. In the last chapter, you became a master photographer, creating a single brilliant snapshot. Now, you must be promoted. You must become the movie director. You are now taking your individual snapshots and stringing them together in perfect sequence to create a motion picture. And what does a movie have? It has a plot. It has action. It has cause and in effect. One scene logically, or even better, illogically, leads to the next. Let's put this into immediate, practical action. Let's take a longer, more difficult shopping list. Apples, chicken, bills, stamps, milk, bread, light bulbs. The old you would try to brute force this, repeating it, apples, chicken, bills, stamps, and you would fail. The new you, the director, is going to shoot a crazy 30-second action comedy. Scene 1. Start with your first image. A giant red shiny apple, vivid, suddenly grows a beak and starts pecking at the ground like a chicken. Action, connection. You hear it, bok bok, sound. Now, in your mind, the apple and the chicken are one fused, absurd creature. Link 1 is forged. Scene 2. What does this apple chicken do? It pulls out a huge, overdue, red-stamped stack of bills, connection, and starts angrily pecking them to shreds. Action, emotion. Link 2 is forged. Scene 3. As it's shredding the bills, one of them turns out to be a giant sticky blue stamp, connection, which gets stuck to its beak. It thrashes its head, trying to get it off. Action. Link 3 is forged. Scene 4. It thrashes so hard that its whole head gets stuck in a giant glass bottle of milk. Connection? Absurd. It's now flailing around, blinded. Link 4 is forged. Scene 5, the milk bottle tips over, crash, and the river of white milk soaks a giant passing loaf of bread. Connection, which gets soggy and gross. Texture, emotion. Link 5 is forged. Scene 6, the soggy bread becomes so heavy it falls and crashes onto a box of light bulbs. Connection, which all explode, kaboom, in a blinding flash of light. Action, sound, visual. Link 6 is forged. The movie is over. Now take a second. Close your eyes. Play that movie. You will see the apple turn into the chicken. The chicken destroys the bills. The bills reveal the stamp. The stamp gets stuck in the milk. The milk soaks the bread. The bread crushes the light bulbs. You will not and cannot forget a single item. And you will never get them out of order. Why? Because it is no longer a list of islands. It is one continuous chain. Each image physically interacts with the next. The first item causes the second, which causes the third. This is the secret. This is how memory masters memorize hundreds of random items. To memorize a history timeline, turn the abstract events into a bloody, dramatic, emotional story. To learn new vocabulary, make the new words characters in a bizarre play who all interact with each other. The story does not need to be logical. In fact, logic is your enemy. Logic is boring. Logic is predictable. Your brain ignores it. The more absurd, the more violent, the more surreal the connections are, the deeper your brain will carve them into its permanent shelves. You are not just building islands anymore. You are building the bridges between them. You are not just scattering stars. You are the god in the sky, drawing the constellations. You are turning the boring, disconnected data of your life into an unforgettable, epic narrative that is yours to command. We have now assembled an incredibly powerful system. You are the gatekeeper. Attention, protecting your library's front door. You are the master cartoonist. Imagery, translating boring text into your brain's vivid, native language. You are the grand director. Story chain, linking those images into an unbreakable narrative. And you are the disciplined blacksmith, spaced review, patiently forging that new hot memory into a cold, hard, permanent blade. This is a perfect, logical, and mechanical system. But it is missing the soul. It is missing the fuel. It is missing the one thing that separates a cold, logical computer from the miraculous biological supercomputer in your skull. Emotion. Here is the insight that changes everything. The intensity of the emotion determines the durability of the memory. Emotion is not just a nice-to-have. It is the most powerful memory enhancer known to neuroscience. It is the superglue that binds a new fact to your mind. It is the chemical ink that burns a memory into your neural pathways, making it permanent. Think about your own life, your own library. The shelves are not organized chronologically. They are organized by emotional significance. You cannot remember what you ate for lunch 3 Tuesdays ago, zero emotion. But you can vividly, perfectly remember your first kiss, or a car accident, or the day you received a standing ovation, or the moment you heard a devastating piece of news. Why? These flashbulb memories were not just recorded, they were branded into your brain by a powerful neurochemical cocktail of adrenaline, dopamine, and cortisol. Your brain is not a passive data recorder. It is a survival machine. For 2 million years, its primary job has been to remember one thing: what matters for my survival and well-being. Emotion is the tag, the fluorescent pink highlighter that screams, "This matters. Save this Your life might depend on this. A memory without emotion is a plain, unhighlighted book in the library. A memory with emotion is highlighted, red-tagged, and placed on the critical urgent shelf right by the librarian's desk. This is the reason why the advice in Chapter 3 worked. I told you to make your images exaggerated, bizarre, absurd, and funny. Why? Because those things are not logical. They are emotional. An image of a fish riding a bicycle is not logical, but it makes you feel surprise or amusement. An image of something exploding is shocking. An image of something disgusting is repulsive. Laughter, surprise, shock, disgust. These are all potent emotions. You are not just creating pictures. You are building emotional charges. This is a tool you must now use consciously. When you learn something new, you must hunt for the feeling. You must connect to it. If you are learning history, do not just memorize the date 1776. That is a cold, dead number. Find a story. Read a letter from a soldier in that war, freezing in the mud, missing his family, terrified but full of hope. Feel that hope. Feel that fear. Now, 1776 is not a number. It is a human drama. If you are learning the word perseverance, do not just learn the definition. Connect it to your own life. Recall a time when you wanted to quit, when you were exhausted, but you kept going. Feel that pride, that exhaustion, that relief. Now the word has weight. It has your story. Stop being a passive, objective, robotic learner. That is the slow, weak path. Be an active, subjective, human learner. Find the joy, the shock, the humor, or the tragedy in the data. Breathe your life into it, because what is felt is what is kept. The grand outro: your mind is yours to build. You now possess the entire blueprint. You have every tool, every strategy, and every secret you need to build a mind of astonishing power. Look at what you've become. You are no longer the passive victim of a bad memory. You are the architect. You are the vigilant gatekeeper. Attention, standing guard at the fortress of your mind, deciding what comes in. You are the master cartoonist. Imagery, a fluent speaker of your brain's native visual language. You are the grand director. Story chain, weaving disconnected facts into epic, unforgettable narratives. You are the disciplined blacksmith, spaced review, patiently forging temporary ideas into permanent, unbreakable knowledge. And you are the divine alchemist, emotion, breathing fire and life into your creations, turning cold data into living, breathing, permanent memory. This is the end of the old, frustrating and exhausting cycle of cram and forget. This is the beginning of a new life of learn and keep. The power was always yours. You just needed the instruction manual. Now you have it. The tools are in your hands. The empty shelves of your magnificent library are waiting. Go and build something magnificent. And of course, this entire journey was not just a lesson in memory. It was a deep immersion, high-level workout for your English fluency. You have just processed, understood, and absorbed thousands of words of powerful, complex, and sophisticated language. If you are committed to this new path, if you are serious about becoming smarter, stronger, and more fluent in every area of your life, then subscribe right now. On this channel, we don't just learn. We become the architects of our own world. Thank you for watching. Your mind is ready. Go and make it unforgettable.